Alrighty, so today we're going to look at something similar to the quiz that is on your blackboard. We're going to be learning on how to change the percentages that are on this particular quiz. Sorry. Okay, change the percentages that are on this particular quiz into a dollar amount or a number, right? So we are looking at these different numbers to see what we're dealing with. P&Ls are extremely important because they're allowing us to see how we're either profiting or what we're losing, right? So in your assignment, you're going to see a bunch of percentages. We need to convert all these percentages before we can even get started on answering the questions. So you're going to learn how to do that. So today's focus is going to be learning how to turn these percentages into the numbers or to the dollar amounts. And we're going to look at all these. So food sales, that's the foods that's sold, right? The menu items that are on your menu, any order that was put in, that's a food sale. Food cost is what it costs to purchase those ingredients to make the menu item. Beverage cost, same thing. Everything that was purchased to make that cocktail, to serve that wine. Maybe it's a garnish, maybe it's juices that are added. So those would all be your beverage costs. You can see here that it's kind of tricky. We're missing the beverage sales. So we're going to eventually have to figure out what our beverage sales are because that's going to be important too. We have here payroll cost. We have benefits. And under the benefits, it says 27% of wages. We'll talk about that a little bit more. It's kind of worded, so it's a little tricky too, but it's not very hard to calculate. Remaining operating expenses, fixed expenses, and then it gives us our covers. So the very first thing that we need to figure out are what our total sales are or what our revenue is, right? So what did we sell in total of food and beverage? So here I'm going to be adding in total sales. And the way that we calculate total sales, typically, like in your assignment, it gives you total, it gives you covers, and then it gives you the price per person. That's how you're going to figure out your total sales. So covers are essentially people that you're serving. So this would be 350 people. That's just the term that we use in the restaurant industry. So we would take 350 covers times, and here the first question is giving us what our average check is. So this is the price per person, price people are paying, times $13, right? So that's going to give us our total sales. So here's where you want to have your calculator so you can help calculate these things and practice on your own. So 350 times 13, that's going to give us our total sales, which would be 4,550, right? This number is really important because we're going to use total sales to calculate pretty much everything here. So the very next thing that we need to do is start turning all these percentages into dollar amounts. So for food sales, we're going to take our food sales, and I can put here FS, that's abbreviated for food sales, and multiply that. Make sure you can see this one. Okay. Just want to make sure you can see that screen I have open. Okay, and we're going to multiply that by TS, total sales, right? This in red. And our total sales, again, are 4,550. And this is going to equal times 0.66. That's going to equal $3,003. Okay, so since we don't have beverage sales, we're going to add that in. So we also need to figure out what our beverage sales are. And this one's really easy to do because essentially your beverage sales and your food sales are coming from total sales, right? So your total sales are what you sold in food and what you sold in beverages, right? So since we don't have beverage sales and all we have is beverage costs, all you have to do is take your total sales. So I'm going to write that here. Total sales minus your food sales. And that's going to give you your beverage sales. So our total sales, which is $450 minus our food sales right here, which is 3003. That's going to give us $1,547. Okay, so now we know what our food sales are, we know what our beverage sales are. Now let's calculate our food cost. So food cost is essentially our food sales times our food cost percentage, times 27%. So when we're trying to take these percentages and get them over to a dollar amount, we're going to be multiplying, right? Because we have a percentage and we need to get it to a dollar amount. So we're going to take our food sales, which were, so it's a little bit different now. We're doing food sales, not total sales. So because we're trying to get our food cost, we're trying to see how much of those food sales did we use on the cost of food, right? So that's why we're going to take our food sales times our food cost percentage to get our food cost dollar amount. So our food cost is 3003 times 27%, and our food cost is now going to equal $810.81. So you would assume that that's the same thing that we're going to do with beverage costs, right? We need to figure out how much of our beverage sales did we use to cover the cost of those beverages, the liquor, the wine, the beer, the juices, right? So we're going to take our, and again, I'm making these abbreviations so it's easier to understand, times your beverage cost. I can just put percentage like that, right? And so I'm just abbreviating these. So BC is your beverage cost percentage. So I'm going to take my 1547 because that's my beverage sales. I'm going to multiply that by my percentage. And this cost me $293.93. Okay, so now we got to figure out our payroll cost. Our payroll cost is going to be that salary, what you pay your front of the house, your back of the house, your admin. So what we're going to do is we're going to take total sales and we're going to multiply this by our payroll cost percentage. And that's going to give us what our dollar amount is for payroll cost. Okay, so our total sales are $450 times our payroll cost, right? So that's 30%, and that's going to equal $13.35. So that's how much it costs just for our payroll. And so now for benefits, that's employee meals, insurance. So now we're going to take that out of our wages. And what are our wages? That's just another name for our payroll. So we're going to be using this number right here to multiply it against our benefits. So we're going to take our payroll cost times our benefits percentage. Okay, so now that's going to be 1335. Oops. 1335 times times 27% equals 360.45. So that's how much it costs just in benefits. Okay, and then now we're going to be figuring out the remaining operating expenses. So the rest of these we're going to multiply by our total sales. So this is going to be 450. Oops. Times 12% equals 546. And we're going to do the exact same thing, but multiply it by 10%. That's going to give us, oops, okay, perfect. So now we've changed all of our percentages to a dollar amount, right? So we have all of this beautiful information to help us determine what we're going to be doing next. So I know on your assignment, it doesn't ask you for the percentage of profit, but it's going to ask you what the profit is. So profit is going to be determined by adding all of your expenses. So what are all of our expenses? Our expenses are going to be things that cost us money, right? So food costs, beverage costs, our payroll costs, our benefits, our remaining operating expenses, and our fixed expenses. So in order for us to calculate profit, we have to add up all those expenses. So we're going to be adding up our, I'm just going to abbreviate, okay? Food cost, our beverage cost, our payroll cost, our benefits. That one I'm going to spell out because it's kind of hard to write that out. I'm going to put remaining operating expenses and fixed expenses, right? So we're going to add all those together. That's going to give us our total cost of expenses. So when your question asks you what's the total cost of expenses, that's what you're going to be figuring out. You're going to add up your food costs, your beverage costs, your payroll costs, your benefits, your remaining operating expenses, and your fixed expenses. So this total is going to come out to, so our food cost was $810.81, plus our beverage cost $293.93, plus our payroll cost, which is $1,335, plus our benefits, which was $360.45, and plus our remaining operating expenses and our fixed expenses, which were $546 and $445. So our total cost comes out to, give me 1 second, just so I can double check all of my amounts. Sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so then your total amount is going to come out to, your total cost is going to come out to, $3,839.29. Oops, I keep messing up my numbers. 29 cents. Right, that's just your total cost of expenses. Now, to determine your profit, you have to take your total sales minus your expenses, and that'll be what's left over, right? Because we have our total sales, which is $450, and then we have to deduct our expenses to see how much money we actually made after all of those expenses get accounted. So then we're going to take away 3,8. Sorry. And that's going to give us $710.71. So that is how much we profit, right? So that equals our profit. How much we are left over with after all that hard work, right? So not so much, but every day as you keep making those sales, it's going to start adding up. And then as you start to get busier, your profit's going to increase as you get more successful at managing all these expenses, managing your food costs. You're going to see that you're going to become more profitable because you're going to be able to manage all those things that are controllable, right? And so how do we get to this percentage here? Well, so now we're going to take our $710 of profit, and we're going to divide it by our total sales. Okay, I'll put TS, sales, and that's going to give us 15.6%, which is this answer right here. Right, so that's how we get our profit percentage. So we learned how to get our total cost of expenses, right? It's adding all these up. Then we learned how to get our profit. We took these expenses and subtracted them from our total sales, and that gave us what's our profit. And so now our profit percentage is 15.6%. So your assignment doesn't ask for this, but it's just going a step further. So in the event that it did, now you know how to figure out what your profit percent is, right? So now we're trying to figure out what our total labor cost is. Well, we already figured this out when we filled out all this information, right? So our total labor cost, which is our payroll cost, or our total labor cost, is going to be our total labor cost is going to be our is going to be our payroll cost plus our benefits. So we're going to add up, payroll plus benefits equals, so 1365 plus 368.55. It's going to give us 1733.55. So, right, we took our payroll cost and we added it to our benefits, and that's how we got our total labor cost. Okay, so what is our prime cost? How do we figure out prime cost? Prime cost is going to be three things, okay? It's going to be your food cost, your beverage costs, and your total wages with benefits. So we just figured out what our total wages are with benefits, right? That's our total labor cost. And we already know what our food cost is and our beverage cost. So this one is food cost plus beverage cost plus total labor cost. And this is going to give us our prime cost. So when we look at our total labor cost, that's $1,733.55 plus our food cost, which is $810.81, plus our beverage cost, which is $293.93. Our total comes out to $2,838.29. So that one is going to be our total labor cost. So again, prime cost is food cost plus beverage cost plus total labor cost. And that's how you're going to determine what your prime cost is. And then we're going to figure out what our gross profit is. So gross profit is just total sales minus the total cost of sales. So total cost of sales is going to be what our sales are made up of, right? So our total sales are made up of food sales and beverage sales. So if we need to know what the total cost of sales are, we need to know what our total, sorry, where am I? Lost track. Let's get this. Skip the answer. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. Okay. So our total sales were 4,550. And we're going to be subtracting our total cost of goods. So we need to look at our food costs. So that's 810.81. And then minus, plus our beverage cost, 293.93. 293.93. Okay, so we need to add up our food costs and our beverage costs. So $810.81 plus $293.93. That's going to give us a total of, I'm just going to take this out, $1,104.74. And we're going to subtract that from our total sales. So that's total sales. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry about that. Where's my assignment? Okay. And so this is, again, total sales minus your total cost of sales. So total cost of sales is going to be your food cost plus your beverage cost. Okay, and our total comes out to, is that right? Sorry. Oops, hold on. messed up somewhere. Sorry. Let's see. 4 minus. Sorry, trying to get back over here. 810, 81 minus 293.83. Okay, sorry about that. So for the total sales minus your cost of your food cost and your beverage cost. So 810, 81. Sorry. Uh, 810, 81 for food minus 293.93 for beverage. 293.93 for beverage, and that's going to equal $3,445.26. So that is answer A. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that gets covered in your assignment. It's going to ask you what are the total average, or like what are the beverage sales, what are the beverage costs, but we already calculated all that, so those are your answers. So essentially, you just need to understand how to change all these percentages into a dollar amount, how to figure out your beverage sales because that's hidden. You don't always have that. How to figure out the benefits. Again, benefits are just going to be multiplied by your payroll costs, and that's how you're going to get the percentage. And you need to figure out total sales, which total sales are going to come from the 350 covers multiplied by the average check or how much it was per person. We talked about prime cost, payroll cost, and gross profit. And so this is how you calculate all of those different items. So again, this is the first part of your introduction to profit and loss report. Again, tomorrow we're going to meet a second time to review that and also go over recipe costing. So please let me know if you have any questions. That's going to conclude today's lesson. Thank you.